Ma'am, please.
Hello everyone. Yes.
Hi, good morning.
Okay. Very good morning to everyone gathered here. With pleasure, I welcome you all to this webinar on International English Language Testing System. First, I would like to welcome our speaker of the day, Ms.Sowmya, Data and Analytic Consultant, Adastra Corporation, Toronto, Canada. Welcome, Ms. Sowmya.
Thank you.
She did her Bachelor of Engineering in Sri Krishna College of Technology, Coimbatore. In the campus interview, she was placed as an IT analyst in TCS Chennai. From 2011 to 2017, she was in TCS Chennai, and in the year 2017, she was deputed to US for an assignment. In the year 2018, she moved to Canada and she has been in Adastra Corporation as data and analytics consultant in Toronto. Once again, a warm welcome to her. Next, I would like to welcome all the other participants from outside. Welcome you all. Next, I would like to welcome all my faculty and my dear students. Once again, I extend a very warm welcome to you everyone. Thank you. Now, Sowmya, the forum is yours.
Thank you. A very good morning to everyone here. I'm so glad to have this opportunity to talk to you guys about IELTS. I'm just going to share my screen and can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is not a PPT I made. It is available on the net. I'll share the link with you. So what is IELTS? IELTS is like an examination for testing our English skills, right? So it is commonly registered across, just let me close this. So this is commonly accepted across various countries for getting into their universities, getting into various jobs, and also in general for testing the language ability, right? And this is accepted by various countries like this: Australia, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand, UK, and USA. If you have seen anybody wanting to do their masters in foreign countries, you would have seen them taking IELTS, or uh, there is other set of examinations as well. But the most common one is IELTS, and it is the easier one. And this is also accepted by various work environments. Like, even if you consider my situation, when I moved to Canada, I took IELTS. That is recognized by my employer for my English language skills, right? So when they take foreign nationals inside their employment, they would want to know if we can communicate well with their clients and within the organization, right? So IELTS helps in understanding that. And in a year, approximately 2 million individuals are taking this test. I'm sure it is much more now. So IELTS in general has two different forms, like academic and general. So the general is for scenarios like mine, where you're taking the IELTS exam for employment. Academic is for people who want to do their higher studies in the universities in foreign countries. What are the sections present in an IELTS examination? There are like 4 sections: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. The entire test duration is 2 hours and 45 minutes. So, how it will happen is either they'll have the speaking section first, or it'll be at the end of all the other sections. Listening, reading, and writing will be together. So they will give you the test papers, and all these three sections will happen together. And the speaking section will either happen after this or before this. We'll have a break in between. And the first is the listening section. There'll be four sections inside it, which is like four different audios. There are two different forms to this, right? So this is IELTS in British Council and IELTS by IDP. In the British Council one, all the testers, the participants of the exam will be sitting inside the room, and the recording will be played in a speaker. Whereas for the IDP section, everybody have the same set time, like 30 minutes for the entire listening duration, but you'll have a headset and you'll have a computer where you can listen to it and write your answers. But for the British Council one, the whole room is listening to the audio and you'll be writing your answers in papers. So the four sections, this will be descriptive, like you will be listening to the audios very attentively to find keywords and write in your answers. And then it'll be like a conversation between two people, and you'll have to understand the gist of the conversation and answer some questions. And then there can be like conversation that's happening in a work environment, and it will be testing your understanding of the conversation, right? So all the four sections are mostly similar, but the first one will be simple, like how we used to have in school, our reading paragraph in English paper two. So that will be very simple. And the other three sections will be like conversation and trying to understand it and giving your answers. Next one will be the reading. So for the academic training, which is for the universities, masters in the universities, it'll be like illustration or graph, and we'll have to understand uh, the passage written about it and answer the questions. But for general, it could be an excerpt from a book or a magazine, anything as such, and there'll be three different sections. Similar to that, the listening, where the first section is easy. In the reading, you'll have a simpler paragraph where you'll have to just identify the keywords. Like it can be asking about which room did the conversation happen in, or what is the date that this thing happened. So the first section will be simpler, but the other sections will be like understanding the illustration or understanding the excerpt from the book, and it will be asking for your opinion and things like that. And then the third section is writing. Similar to reading, this has two different sets as well, for academic and general. So the academic one will be about, there is two parts to it, right? The first part is letter writing, and the second one is an essay. This letter, first letter, could be like writing to a landlord about vacating your place, or writing to your employer for uh, for absence, something like that, for general. And for academic, it will be about talking to your professor about something, or asking why your score was lower when you have put so much effort on this, things like that. It'll be the question will be descriptive on what needs to be communicated, but you'll have to add the details to it. So for the first letter part, it will have to be 150 words, and the entire duration of the writing section is 60 minutes. They'll have set timer for each of the section, and when the timer goes off, you'll have to start the next section, right? So for letter writing, considering it is 150 words, generally people take about 20 minutes to finish that. And the second part is essay, which is 250 words long, and we would give 40 minutes for that. So for the general and academic, the second part will be mostly similar. You'll have a topic and then you'll have to write about it. So how it goes is, I'll give you an example for general. Say, for example, they want to write about deforestation, right? So you'll have to bring it to 250 words, you'll be giving an introduction, and then you'll be writing about the pros and cons of it, how you are, uh, well, while you're writing the pros, you'll be accepting deforestation, and while you're writing the cons, it'll be why you're against it, and then there will be a conclusion, right? Um, yeah, that's about the 3 sections. And then in general, these 3 will happen in the morning, and the speaking section will happen in the afternoon. There'll be a lunch break, and then each participant will get 15 minutes. 15 minutes. We'll be waiting outside, and they'll call us in, and there will be one interviewer sitting with a stopwatch, right? So the first part of the speaking interview is self-introduction. You could talk about yourself for 4 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes, and then when the timer goes off, they'll move on to the next section. The next section is they'll give us a cue card, and the cue card will have a topic, and they'll give us 1 minute time to prepare on that topic. And once the 1 minute is done, they'll let us talk on what we have prepared. And this will be for 5 minutes. And then after, like, you don't have to go for the whole 5 minutes. If you have like prepared only for 3 minutes, then when you're done, they'll move to the next section. Next section is whatever you have spoken on the topic, they'll try to build a conversation out of it. They'll be asking you questions on whatever you have said. For example, in my speaking interview, I had this question about globalization. The topic I got was globalization. And I spoke about how globalization has brought all these fruits from different countries. Like, we are getting kiwi that is specific to Australia in all the other countries, right? I took that as my key point, and I was talking about it. So in the next 5 minutes, in the last 5 minutes of the speaking section, the questions I got were about if you think kiwi is being preserved for, sending to all other countries, what other fruit could replace the nutrition provided by kiwi in your own country, right? So this is, I would say, this is like purely luck, or how much understanding you have on some topic, or how much you can talk about a topic, right? So you should be able to develop on the cue card that was given to you. So yeah, those are the 4 sections to the IELTS test. This slide talks about the scoring system. So they call this as band 1 to 9, and there is no pass or fail in this. And most of the universities are looking for a score which is above 6 or 7. And some professions will look for example, you are applying for a job as a translator. In that case, they'll try to analyze your skill on your writing section. So you'll have an overall band, and then also there will be a breakage, like what is your score on each of these 4 sections, right? So there will be some job that want your speaking skill to be more, or your writing skill to be more, right? If you're applying for a job as a content writer, you'll have to have a good writing skill, right? So that's how the scoring system for IELTS is. And the pricing. So this is given in USD here. In INR, it's about 10,000 or 12,000 rupees, I think. And you can select a date. That you'll have a list of dates available, and there will be a list of testing centers. You can go to the IELTS site, register yourself, and select your exam date and location, and make your payment, and then you'll get the invitation over email. So this is what we talked about earlier. So this is offered primarily by 3 different organizations: Cambridge, British Council, and IDP Education. The British Council and the Cambridge testing systems are similar, like how all the participants will be sitting in a room, and they'll get the recordings over speakers, right? And then the IDP one, it is independent. You'll be sitting in front of a computer and you'll be typing out your letter and essays. Whereas in the British Council one, you'll be writing all of them out. So you'll have to practice, right? For someone who has been working on computers for the past 10 years, it's been a while since I wrote. So when I took the IELTS, I was 7 years into IT and I had a hard time writing faster. So you'll have to practice writing if you're going for the British Council one. Yeah, so it is also offered by organizations like Amit East and Anglo-Mexican Foundation, but the most common ones is the British Council and the IDP one. So this slide talks about what is a good IELTS score, right? So it completely depends on the purpose of why you are taking the test. If it is for a university, 6 or 7 is a very good score. But if you are doing it for permanent residency, applying for permanent residency to countries like Australia, Canada, New Zealand, then the IELTS score that you get will help adding score to your profile, your residency profile itself, right? So the more in that scenario, in the scenario of applying for residencies, the more score you get, it'll improve your profile. What is the exam content here? So we talked about this in the slide that described about all the 4 sections. So it basically tests your English skills, right? The literacy skill, reading and writing, and also your ability to listen and speak, the daily, everyday conversation, right? And yeah, for the reading one, there will be multiple choice questions and there will be short answer questions. The multiple choice questions will be simpler, like you'll be answering based on what you read on the passage. But for the short answer questions and the correct word or phrase, you'll have to understand the passage, not just select words from the passage and write it down. You'll have to understand and write in your own words. Also for the listening section, it continuously goes on, right? So what I would suggest is go through the question once. You'll have some time before they start the recording. So before that, just go through the questions so you'll have an idea of what the different questions are. There are like 30 questions in the listening section. So if you just skim through, excuse me, and read the entire section, you'll have an idea of the questions that are being asked, right? So once you have that idea and then you listen to the recording, you'll know what to listen for. So how do they mark listening? For example, they are asking one word. They finish this sentence in one word. If you're not paying attention to that part and you hear something in 2 words in the recording and you write the 2 words, you'll not get a mark for that word. So you'll have to pay attention on how many words they are looking for and also the recording while you're answering it. So how I finish that is, so I know while I skim through and while I'm listening to the recording, I know what is being asked. So I'll just make a note on the side of what I think is the answer. And then when I have some time at the end, like once the recording gets over and when I have the time at the end, I'll again read how many words they are looking for and answer based on that. That is one suggestion for the listening section. So yeah, I think we have gone over everything. I can take questions now. You don't have to be nervous. You can ask me anything.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Personally, I have a question. So, is IELTS or TOEFL is mandatory for students who are pursuing English degree? That is, they are pursuing a PG in post graduation in English. Does it mandatory to do IELTS?
It depends on the university that we are applying for. For example, if they want to study in country like Singapore, I don't think most of the universities are looking for your IELTS or your TOEFL score. But if they are looking to do this in some Western country or even in Australia and New Zealand, these countries require our knowledge on the English. They know that we'll be able to survive in their country, that we are not a burden to their country system, right?
Questions?
Yes, sir. If you want to ask any question, come forward.
So, I hope the students are very more clear about your presentation. So, with this, let me propose the vote of thanks. So, I deem it a great pleasure.
If she wants to say.
Yes, ma'am. Do you want to say anything for that?
No, I'm good. I hope it was helpful to the students, and like if they have any questions or if they somebody wants to do some masters or some pursue some degree in foreign country and they want to ask me questions, I'll share my email ID. They can reach out to me with questions later if they want to.
Sure.
Yes, come this side. Come this side and ask. Yes, student want to ask question. Yeah.
Good morning, ma'am.
Hi, good morning.
My name is Coherent. I'm doing my freshman year at this college, ma'am. Ma'am, is
Hello.
there any preparation tools available for the IELTS exam or any
Yeah,
books
so
related or?
once you register for the exam, you'll have an option to order the book. The book's cost is inclusive in the exam fees that you're paying. But there are like tons of materials available in the internet. Like you'll have model papers or the actual question papers that participants got in their exams. So many material is available over the internet, and the book is helpful too. It is very vast. The book is actually vast, but if you prepare with like 10 model papers available, then you're good for the exam.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Sure.
That's it.
Yes.
Come, come.
Hi, ma'am. I'm the kind of parent. So my question is, what need is there any apps like to prepare self study?
Yeah, definitely. Mm, Even for the model question papers or for the listening sections, I have seen like extensive apps available in App Store and also in Play Store. Um, but if you're looking to increase your conversational skills in English, there is this app called Duolingo. I'll just type that out in the chat. Yeah, this with this one. You'll be provided with conversations, everyday conversations, and you'll be having an opportunity to give your own response and check the grammar mistakes in it and things like that. This is a very interesting app. You can check that. Like not only for English, this has like wide variety of other languages like Spanish, French. Yeah, a lot of other languages are available in this app. Check that out.
So what is the main reason to take the exam, the international language testing for the jobs?
I would say the main thing majorly this is being used for universities while you're pursuing your higher education. But there are scenarios where I hear echo. My voice is echoing. Okay, I'm gonna try and speak again. Still, it's echoing. Okay, yeah. So for jobs, not a lot of jobs ask for that, but when you're a foreign national and you're trying to work in their organization, this gives them confidence, right? That you'll do a better job at communicating things within the organization.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone who wants to work abroad in the future.
Introducers.
Morning, ma'am.
Hi, good morning.
I'm Sanya, ma'am. I'm studying. How can I prepare myself for this exam, ma'am?
So this exam is more about our conversational and understanding skills, right? So how can you improve yourself is by applying yourself to it every day, right? So you'll have to practice your speaking skills, your reading skills every day while talking to your friends or while reading a book. It can be anything, right? But if you're looking to do this, you should apply yourself to it every day.
Thank you.
Sure.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
What is the hardest score to meet a IT job in abroad, ma'am?
Like I said, most of the jobs are not looking for your score. So when you are like when you have a good experience, in that case, this will be just like an add-on. But if you are going in as a fresher, this will definitely help in securing a job. But for entering into any of those countries we talked about as an employee, you'll need this exam, like either IELTS or TOEFL. You'll need this exam to enter into their country.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sure.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good
Ma'am,
morning.
what are the difference between this exam and the TOEFL exam?
They are not very different. All these exams have same sections, but the TOEFL one is extensively academic. IELTS has the general part to it, but TOEFL is more academic oriented. That's the difference.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hello, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
You said the four basic skills are important for this exam. According to you, which part is most difficult and we want more practice?
I had difficulty with writing section. First, I had difficulty writing extensively, like for half an hour, right? And then building the essay or the letter to the required number of words. So that's where I had difficulty. But some of my friends had difficulty in listening section. So it depends on the individual. Like if you're good in reading, like if you read a lot of books, reading will be easy to you. When someone is listening to a lot of podcasts or a lot of radio shows, they'll have easier participation with the listening skill. So it actually depends on the individual.
Thank you.
Sure.
Good morning, ma'am. I'm K. Madhumita. Does this exam contain only questions based on general knowledge and speaking English knowledge, or other questions based on literature too?
No, not at all literature. Most of the questions are general, but when it comes to academic form of the IELTS exam, you'll have something like graphical illustration or an excerpt from a book about something general like science or weather, can be anything, but it'll be using more academic oriented words, but nothing related to literature.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other question? If you want to ask, you can.
Yeah.
How to teach English abroad. Ma'am, just last question. So, if candidates willing to work as a teacher in abroad, like English native speaking countries, what are the qualifications they are expecting?
Selvi ma'am, you need to watch out. One of your staff is trying to leave the college. I'm not expert on that side, but I can look it up for you. But if you are applying for any sort of work visa, this is a mandatory thing, right? IELTS or the TOEFL exam is a mandatory thing. Uh, Most followed approach is doing some sort of uh, master degree there, so it will give easier opportunity to enter into their workforce. Did that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you planning to move?
Sure. Thank you, ma'am.
Sure.
So, this last question, that is wind up the session. So, before that, a formal vote of thanks. So, thanks for joining with us, ma'am. So, thank you for your insights on IELTS. So, I hope our students have received a lot of information regarding the IELTS process. So, thanks for joining. I would like to thank the management for providing this opportunity. I thank at the head Department of English. I thank all of the faculty members who supported us from the back. And last but not least, I would like to thank our student friends. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.